So it's from Punk with Dulcimer, and that's a rubbing of a Pictish stone, the Duplin cross, which is in the church at Dunning. So here we are. A Tentsmuir Flora. It begins with a quotation from the wonderfully named Sir William Turner Thistleton Dyer on plant distribution from the Encyclopaedia Britannica. And it's worth I think it's something we need to remember, which is existing floras exhibit only one moment in the history of the Earth's vegetation. A moment that you might fathom, you'd think, reciting names like adder's tongue and moonwort, coral root and yellow bird's nest, listed in Tentsmuir's resonant flora. But then an owl at Morton Lochs disgorges a pellet packed with field mouse fur and tiny bones from a neighbouring parish, and seeds that will grow into another moment. And there are days when Har drifts in from the sea and settles like drops of mercury on rhubarb leaves, when you step out into the garden, into the moment before. Digging, you unearth bits of clay pipe, the bowl inscribed with Masonic symbols, a pair of compasses like a Pictish V-rod. In shifting light, your fossil heap, a shellfish midden. Moments washed by Forth and Tay. Fife, a Mesopotamia of silts and erosions. A kingdom stretched between its firths like a hide from the scriptorium at Balmerney. Barley fields the colour of vellum. Earth you may as well be fathomed in, you think, instinctively at home, peninsular, putting down roots almost by accident. You heard a story about a plant that sprang up when a ship from Tierra del Fuego sank at the mouth of the Tay. How Patagonian fleeces hung for weeks on Tentsmuir's barbed wire. Wind was combing the wool with weaver's fingers, as you remembered the Huguenots who fled here in an earlier wave. Loosened seeds of Norwegian lamb's lettuce taking root. Well, it started from the discovery that an amazing man called Dr. John Berry, who was a botanist, a zoologist, worked for the Fisheries Commission or Board or whatever it's called, and for the Scottish Hydroelectric Board and all sorts of things, but was a terrific man in the field. And he noticed this plant. He lived in Newport-on-Tay at a place called Tayfield, and he discovered this strange plant he'd never seen before, and to him it looked like a foreign plant. So he decided that the best thing would be to take it to Kew Gardens itself to get it identified. And when he got there, they said, but this is amazing. This plant is in tremendously good condition. How did you bring it all this way? And he said, well, I've only come from Fife. And they said, what do you mean you found it in Fife? And he said, yes. And they said, well, it grows in Tierra del Fuego, the far tip of South America. And so he started to work out how this might have happened. And it seems that, I don't know when, I haven't got the date of this shipwreck, but a ship from Tierra del Fuego, which was carrying lots and lots of fleeces from that area, presumably to be used in woolen mills, sank at the mouth of the Tay, and these fleeces were rescued and they were hung on fences, barbed wire fences in Tentsmuir to dry. And it seems that the most likely thing is that seeds from this plant, which by the way is a kind of Senecio, and he found out which one, and it's known colloquially as Norwegian lamb's lettuce. And he decided that there must have been some seeds attached to the fleeces, which fell, and decided, we like it here in Fife, we're going to grow here. And that set me thinking about all the ways that people come into an area, plants come into an area, birds move about from area to area. And I thought, it started me thinking, well, when my husband and I, Julian and I, came to Fife, we were students, but we were immigrants. That's what we were. We were coming into, I'd never lived in Scotland before. I'd never been to Scotland before. And so to come here and to realise how many other folk had moved into this area from so many different places. I learnt later on from a Quaker friend who used to take us around, drive us about, because we didn't have a car in those days, to look at interesting bits of Fife. He showed us these weavers' cottages with the extra window for the extra daylight. And he said, of course, originally these would have been Huguenot weavers from the Low Countries who were persecuted for being Protestants and took refuge in Fife. And I just thought about all the people who had moved in and settled here. And Fife is a very, it has a very rich history. There are lots of Pictish stones and things like that from Pictish times in Fife. There are souterrains and beautifully carved Pictish stones, which some of them show Pictish horsemen with on one side, or scenes from the Bible, and then on the other side there'll be a big cross, because they were used probably as preaching crosses. I'm thinking of the ones at Aberlemno, for example, the wonderful carved stones there. That's not Fife, of course, it's just across the river in Angus. But it's not so far away. And we do have a lot of beautifully carved stones in Fife, and much older things too. We have stone circles going back to prehistoric times. And in Tentsmuir, where this plant was found, this was where the Beaker people lived. And they were called Beaker people because of the kind of pottery that they made. So they were already here, I don't know how many thousands of years ago. And so, yes, I saw Fife as a wonderfully rich place in which to come and put down roots, like the plant.